My only function is the one God gave me. Your only function is the one God gave you. What's good, fam? We made it to lesson 65 of A Course in Miracles. And today we are going to be discussing our function more in depth, although we've been discussing this for the past few days now. Another word we could use for function would be purpose. When someone's looking for their purpose, or if you don't know what your purpose is, let's go back to lesson 62. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Me and you, as the light of the world, have a purpose, have a function, which is forgiveness. Now, me and you are not special. Me and you are no different than anyone else in this world. They are also the light of the world, but me and you are here in remembrance of the fact of who we really are, and our function as the light of the world is forgiveness. And by us functioning properly and forgiving will reawaken the fact to the sleeping minds of who they really are as well. Now, let's talk about forgiveness real quick before we dive into this lesson and break it down. Forgiveness is your salvation. Forgiveness is what is going to release you from the chains that you've imprisoned the Son of God with, that you've imprisoned yourself with. Whenever we don't forgive somebody or something or a situation or ourselves, we are only hurting ourselves. Although it may appear like we're not letting them off the hook, we're actually binding both of us to that chain of not forgiveness, of condemning someone as guilty or still holding that grudge from years ago or months ago or yesterday. That is keeping you chained and imprisoned, and you cannot, no matter how hard you try, be as God created you until you forgive that person. You cannot be free. You cannot be as free as you possibly can if there is still baggage and things of this world or people of this world weighing you down. Now remember, although sometimes we believe not forgiving is keeping the other person down, so we're kind of happy about that at some points in time, they are only kept down to the degree by you not forgiving them that they haven't forgiven themselves. Meaning, even though you haven't forgiven them, if they've forgiven themselves, then they're free and you're not forgiving them and they've set themselves free, and you're just like sitting here angry, in a grudge, mad at the entire world. And I'm not saying that that's you. I'm saying that that could be us at some point in times, and to whatever degree that is us if we don't forgive. We are sitting here with this little mad, angry idea, not letting somebody off the hook, and we don't even know they could have forgiven you a long time ago, and you're just sitting there in your little corner, boxed off from the rest of the world because you haven't set yourself free. Now, the whole purpose for today of us remembering our function is to release ourselves. And what happens, before we continue reading the lesson for today, what happens whenever you forgive yourself and everyone else? Now, that person that you forgave, and remember, you don't have to go up to them and forgive them in person. You can do it all in the comfort of your home with your mind. All you got to do is close your eyes and think of their name. And the moment you think of someone's name, that is the idea of that person. That is who they are, their essence. And you forgive them with your eyes open or closed. It really doesn't matter, whatever works best for you. But as long as you have forgiven them internally, you don't have to go and say it to them in person if you don't feel led to do that. The whole reason for us talking about forgiveness is to set yourself free, and that's something you could do right here and now, regardless of if that person's in your environment or not. Now, we're going to talk more about this. Let's go ahead and begin today. If you got the book, you already know what to do. And if you don't got the book, the PDF is in the description. Let's go ahead and dive straight in this. My only function is the one God gave me. The idea for today reaffirms your commitment to salvation. It also reminds you that you have no function other than that. Both these thoughts are obviously necessary for a total commitment. Salvation cannot be the only purpose you hold while you still cherish others. The full acceptance of salvation as your only function necessarily entails two phases: the recognition of salvation as your function, and the relinquishment of all the other goals you have invented for yourself. So, just to clarify this a little bit, me and you, like one of the earlier lessons stated, do not know what's in our own best interest. Whenever we are asleep, meaning when we are identifying with the ego, when we are thinking we are these bodies separate from everyone and everything, we have invented all of these other goals in our mind that we believe is going to set us free. We have set plans that we think are going to make us feel better or make us happier or make us, again, free. Whatever it may be, we think that we know what's in our own best interest, and we really don't. And there's nothing wrong at all with having plans in this world, but the whole idea of this course is teaching us that when we're not in our right minds in this state of enlightenment, doing anything outside of this state is going to be kind of more effortful than it really needs to be. We could be going through this world gliding so effortless if we were just functioning properly, and to we would be led down the path of where we need to go and what we need to do in relationship to our business, friendships, money, whatever it may be. We will be led down the path to know what to do if we were functioning properly. But those are all those plans that we think are the ones for us that we have invented are not in our best interest for the most part. And it's good to understand that, because whenever you accept your only function that God has for you, you set yourself free. And whenever you set yourself free, now you can be receptive to the most powerful source, the most powerful energy ever that exists, the source from which me and you have sprang forth from and have originated from, the source from which the money that you're looking for has originated from, the source from which all the good that you desire has originated from. God. Everything that we are looking for in this world is going to take so much more effort if we're trying to make it happen rather than just accept our function, release our resistance, and therefore be clearly receptive to our Creator's guidance to let us know what the path of least resistance is. Now, let's go ahead and continue, but we have to remember that most of the time we don't know what's in our own best interest. And if we were to forgive ourselves and forgive everyone else, and although we may think that we don't have to do that, there are if there are things in this world that can trigger uncontrollable and irrational emotions within you, meaning if somebody does something on a consistent basis that pushes your buttons, or something happens that pushes your buttons, or it takes you out of this state, or you think that you need something in order to feel good enough, which stems from a belief that you don't feel good enough already, you don't feel like you're enough already, all of those are just forms trying to reflect back to you that you need to forgive yourself in some way, shape, or form. Because if you've forgiven yourself fully and totally, then you would not have those uncontrollable and irrational emotions occurring. You would no longer be able to be triggered by anything of this world if you have forgiven yourself fully, which is why we have to understand whenever we get triggered. And here's the cool part: whenever we do fall back asleep and we are in the dream, a cool little tactic to wake you up is understanding that I just got my button triggered. I am triggered right now. I am worried, doubt, fear, lack. I am anything but feeling love. I am upset. I am upset because I see something that is not there. I am upset because what I think caused this upset is actually me giving it the meaning that I have given it without knowing. I have given this thing that triggered me all the meaning that it has for me, and now I am triggering it, but really I triggered myself, because if I didn't place that meaning on that thing or person or situation that triggered me, I would not have been able to get triggered, because things of this world do not mean nothing. They are meaningless. They are neutral. They cannot push your buttons. They are literally nothing. The only reason why somebody could get you angry is because of the meaning that you've put on that person, blocking you from seeing the light that they really are. Now, let's continue, but that was pretty powerful stuff right there. And whenever you do fall asleep, a cool little tactic whenever that happens is forgiving yourself by simply stating, I forgive myself. It's as simple as that. I forgive myself for making this image and projecting it on that person because now I think that they got me upset when really, if I didn't put that meaning and project all of my internal fear and internal conflict and I didn't project that on them, I wouldn't have been able to get upset. Meaning, I need to forgive myself right now in this moment for causing this situation, and I need to forgive that person, and I don't have to say it with words, but I need to forgive them for making me feel that way. I just need to forgive, and I need to understand that I'm actually thankful for that person over there reflecting back to me what my work internally is. Still, I still have internal work, and that person that I projected that fear that I think exists within me, the Son of God, they just showed me and reflected back to me what I believe about myself, which is a blessing. So anytime you are going through any sort of conflict in your world, in your life, that is the best opportunity to figure out what is still active within you that you need to release. And once you release that, then you could come across that situation 10 more times and you will no longer get triggered because you have released the image that you were projecting on that situation to begin with. Therefore, you cannot project it no more because now, whenever that situation arises, there is only love. Therefore, you extend that love and it's reflected back to you, and you are chilling. So be grateful for any adversity that you face because that adversity is reflecting back to you something that you and only you need to forgive about yourself and the world. Remember, whenever you are forgiving someone out there, you're really forgiving yourself because whenever you forgive someone out there, you're actually, whether you're doing this knowingly or unknowingly, you are forgiving yourself because you are the one who placed that projection on them in the first place. And one more example before we continue. If me and you, let's just say we're looking at the same individual, right? And let's just say this individual is an old friend of yours that I don't know. Now, I'm looking at this individual and I only see love and light. I don't know who they are. And you're looking at this individual, but you've had all those experiences that with them for so long. And let's just say they've done something in the past to get you angry or upset. Well, first of all, the fact that you're looking at this love and light who is a reflection of you with anger or envy or hatred or whatever it is, they're causing you any form of upset, but I'm chilling sitting here looking at the same person as you, but I'm chilling in love and in peace. That is showing you that if you were to forgive them and all of your past thoughts that you're preoccupied with about them and you forgive them, you're actually forgiving yourself for projecting all of your fear on them, and they're just reflecting back to you what you need to know about yourself to release, to be whole and free again. So is it starting to kind of click? Is it starting to make sense how if you're not forgiving someone out there, you're actually only doing a disservice to yourself because that person is showing you something that you have projected on them, and you can't give someone what you don't have, meaning you wouldn't have been able to see that fear or worry or doubt or any form that upset may take in that person if you didn't have that to project, if you didn't have that to give, meaning if you were as God created you in that moment, which is only love and light, you could only give and extend love and light and therefore receive that back. Meaning if you're receiving anything from anyone or any situation or circumstance or event in this world, it is reflecting back to you what you have projected on it first. So take that in for a little bit. This is the only way in which you can take your rightful place among the saviors of the world. This is the only way in which you can say and mean, my only function is the one God gave me. This is the only way in which you can find peace of mind. Today, And for a number of days to follow, set aside 10 to 15 minutes for a more sustained practice period in which you try to understand and accept what the idea for the day really means. Today's idea offers you escape from all your perceived difficulties. It places the key to the door of peace, which you have closed upon yourself in your own hands. It gives you the answer to all the searching you have done since time began. Try, if possible, to undertake a daily extended practice periods at approximately the same time each day. Try also to determine this time in advance and then adhere to it as closely as possible. The purpose of this is to arrange your day so that you have set apart the time for God as well as for all the trivial purposes and goals you will pursue. This is part of the long-range disciplinary training your mind needs so that the Holy Spirit can use it consistently for the purpose He shares with you. Now, I'm pretty sure at this point in our mind training, we are capable of focusing our attention on one focal point for about 10 to 15 minutes. I remember when we first began, we couldn't really focus that long because our mind was wandering everywhere and it was mindlessly wandering, and we were like goldfish and we couldn't preoccupy our minds with the present moment. But right now, in this moment in time, that's kind of where our attention should be, like where we're able to focus on one thing for a good 10 to 15 minutes. And if we're not there yet, it's totally fine. But just know if we're unable to control the direction of where our attention goes, then we have some work to do because we are the ones in control. We are the ones with dominion over where our attention goes and over everything in our life. And everything in our life out there is only going to be as deliberately created as our ability to focus our attention. If we're unable to focus our attention in a certain way on a certain subject for a certain amount of time, then we're going to be scrambled in our mind all over the place, and our life is going to reflect that. So just keep that in mind. We are there, and if we're not there, it's totally fine. But that is the point that we are going to get to. We are going to become masters of ourselves. We are going to have self-mastery. We are going to be able to think with God, think with light. We are going to be able to think, because what we've been doing our whole lives, I don't think we could call that thinking. We've been hallucinating. We've been thinking mindless thoughts that have gotten us nowhere. But because right now we are taking control of this powerful tool of ours and we are learning how to train it and we are regaining control, now we are in the driver's seat of our life, and everything is going to reflect that very soon. So be glad. For the longer practice period, begin by reviewing the idea for the day. Then close your eyes. Repeat the idea to yourself once again and watch your mind carefully to catch whatever thoughts cross it. At first, make no attempt to concentrate only on thoughts related. One more time. At first, make no attempt to concentrate only on thoughts related to the idea for today. Rather, try to uncover each thought that arises to interfere with it. Note each one as it comes to you with as little involvement or concern as possible, dismissing each one by telling yourself, "This thought reflects a goal that is preventing me from accepting my only function." One more time. This thought reflects a goal that is preventing me from accepting my only function. Now, before we continue, let's understand how powerful that is. In our practice period for today, like it stated, by repeating the central thought, my only function is the one God gave me. Let's just say we set our timer. We're going to pretend we're doing this together, okay? We set our 10-minute timer for the time that we said we would do these lessons, and now it's going 9:59, 9:58, 9:57, and the timer is going and we are sitting there with our eyes closed and we are repeating the thought, my only function is the one God gave me. My only function is the one God gave me. And we are preoccupying our thought with that intention. Now, what it's letting us know is that our mind is going to begin, other thoughts are going to begin to come to surface, because right now we are most likely not as trained in our mind as we possibly could be, meaning thoughts that we've thought in our whole lives, those recycled thoughts that pop up from time and time again, are going to surface while we're thinking this thought, interrupting us from being preoccupied only and primarily on this thought. Now, what it's saying is, let's just say a thought about a person comes up. All right, you're thinking about a person, or you need to answer messages for the day, or you need to go do something for the day, or you're thinking about what someone else may be thinking about you. Those mindless thoughts, it states this thought, and you're going to repeat this to yourself during your 10-minute practice period. When those thoughts arise, you're going to repeat this thought reflects a goal that is preventing me from accepting my only function. And it's very true. And we may not look at it like that. We may just think it's a thought. But whenever we reach this level of awareness, we understand that if our mind, and we said in this state of mind that we are going to set our intention on this one thing, and we are doing that, and then another thought arises that is there to kind of deviate us from what we said we would do, that thought reflects a goal that is preventing us from accepting our only function. And we have to learn how to catch those thoughts so much to the point that we are aware 24/7 of what is passing in and out of our mind. And that's a level that we can get to, that we have gotten to right now more than we have before, and we are going to learn how to master that ability, because we do have that ability. We can master that. And we were never taught how to think. We were taught reading, writing, math. We were taught a whole host of things that, yes, they may be important in this world, but we were never taught why we should want to know those things. Meaning we were never taught why and how to think for ourselves. So our whole life, what happens with most people, and I know that I could include myself in this category, is we are looking for guidance outside of ourselves, whether that may be in somebody older than us, or someone who appears to have it all figured out, or whoever it may be. We are looking for guidance outside of ourselves because we were never taught how to think for ourselves, and we fell asleep to the fact that we have internal guidance, and that guidance is more powerful than any guidance we could find out there. And what me and you are doing right now, and what we've been doing for the past few months, and what we are going to continue doing for the rest of this year, is be receptive to the guidance within, so that way we will never feel lost again. We will never feel meaningless again. We will never feel not enoughness. We will never feel lack. We will never feel anything other than love, peace, and joy, because that is as God created us. That is as God would have us be. And by us accepting our only function, we are reawakening to the fact of light is who we really are. After a while, interfering thoughts will become harder to find. Try, however, to continue a minute or longer, attempting to catch a few of the idle thoughts that escaped your attention before, but do not strain or make undue effort in doing this. Then, tell yourself, on this clean slate, let my true function be written for me. One more time. On this clean slate, let my true function be written for me. You need not use these exact words, but try to get the sense of being willing to have your illusions of purpose be replaced by truth. Finally, repeat the idea for today once more, and devote the rest of the practice period to trying to focus on its importance to you. The relief its acceptance will bring you by resolving your conflicts once and for all, and the extent to which you really want salvation in spite of your own foolish ideas to the contrary. That's beautifully written right there. I'm going to read that one more time so that way we could really focus more clearly on that, and then we're going to discuss it before we conclude today's lesson. Finally, repeat the idea for today once more and devote the rest of the practice period to trying to focus on its importance to you, the relief its acceptance will bring you by resolving your conflicts once and for all, and the extent to which you really want salvation in spite of your own foolish ideas to the contrary. Now, the Course uses this terminology very deliberately, and it's there to let us know that we really have a foolish purpose whenever we are identified with this body, with the ego, because we do not know what's in our own best interest. So we are thinking all these idle, meaningless thoughts, and we are thinking that that's what life is all about, when really what me and you are here for is something that we have not been fulfilling. And whenever we understand that this is our will, and when we understand that this is everybody's will, meaning this is God's will, meaning this is what we intended to do before we stepped in these bodies. Remember, our function is forgiveness. Our function as the light of the world is forgiveness. Forgiveness is our function as the light of the world, meaning we need to forgive ourselves and everyone else. And we knew that that's why we were coming here, so that way we can free ourselves from all of the emotional triggers that we believe exist, from all our illusions, from all the shackles that we've placed upon ourselves. This body is not who we are. This body is a learning device, and me and you are here learning to forgive ourselves and set ourselves free. That is why we are here. And we got carried away and we went on little detours trying to make money our main priority, trying to make relationships our main priority, trying to make materialistic possessions our main priority. All these things of the world that are meaningless. And again, they are not bad to experience those things. And that is the whole purpose why we are doing this course. Please do not forget this. By me and you understanding our purpose and our function and releasing ourselves from all the fear that we hold or any form of upset that we may hold, and we do, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be here right now, then what we are doing by freeing ourselves is we are releasing all the blocks that we've put up towards perfect love coming in. And whenever we get to the point where pure love can flow in because we've released ourselves from everything and everyone, now the things of this world will flow to you effortlessly. And this is no fantasy. This is your abundance being claimed. This is the money, or aka energy, flowing to you, the abundance flowing to you, the fun relationships, the outrageous joy that this world can offer whenever you are free from all the triggers that you have written upon this world. You see, before we continue, most people believe that work like this is a deviation from them reaching their goals of attaining material success. And this is not a deviation from that. This is actually us perpetuating the belief that we are able to receive these things because we are one with them. Now, I'm going to say this in another way to help us understand this a little more clearly, is that work that we're doing right now, the internal work, most people do not want to do this. And I'm saying most people, including ourselves at some point in time, may not believe that this is in our own best interest, because we think that we need to be doing something. We think we need to be taking action and making things happen. And we think that we need to go chase our goals and our dreams. And that right there, there's nothing wrong with that. But whenever you're chasing something, that must mean that you believe that that thing is outside of you and apart from you, and you are not in possession of it already. Now, what we're learning right here is what everybody wants to know. Every single child of God out there right now who has fallen asleep to the fact that that's exactly who they are, is the child of God. They want to know what me and you know. Me and you want this to be our main priority. This is God's will for us, and this is also our will when we're in our right minds. And because I believe me and you are in our right minds right now, we know that this is the work that we want to master, because when we master this, we set ourselves free, and everything else that we were chasing at one point will come to us. because that is just how the game works. That is how it works. That is how it works. And whenever we release just for a little temporary moment all those things out there and press pause on the game and relearn the rules of the game, it's like you're playing a video game. Press pause and you go to the manual and you read the rules. You read what the game's about, how the game works, who you are, what this character represents. You are understanding it and you become enlightened. You understand it. You understand the game. You understand who you are and why you're here. Now, from that state of mind, we can press play and go back out there and play the game and just live a joyful life like we intended to do before we stepped in these bodies. There is so much that we can continue to keep repeating in different ways to help us remember this, but this is it. This is how simple it is. We have to make this our number one priority because this is what our priority was before we stepped in these bodies until we got distracted by the things of this world. One more example I do want to use to help this make a little more sense before we conclude today's idea is, if you've ever watched the movie Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, I believe it's called. I'm not too sure of the name, but it's Percy Jackson. There's a scene where him and a few other people go into the club in Las Vegas, I believe, or Hollywood. I'm not sure where it was, but they go in the club and they were there for a purpose. They had an intention. They went there deliberately to accomplish a certain task. But whenever they got in there, one of the waitresses brought them these little lotus flowers and they were infused with like something that altered their mind. I believe it was like alcohol or a drug, whatever it may be, that got them feeling woozy, and they deviated from their plan. It caused them to totally hallucinate and go in the opposite direction of what they were doing. They completely forgot why they were there to begin with because of that alteration that happened to their mind. Now they are on a whole another mission that has nothing to do with why they went there. Now, I mentioned that to say this. That's exactly what's happening right now with me and you. Me and you, before we had these physical appearances, when we were just love and light only, we knew that we were going to take on this physical role, and we had an intention. We were going to use this body as a learning device to remove all of the worry and doubt and fear and separation, the sense of separation that we believed in and made real to us. We believed that we were separated from God and all that is and everyone and everything. And we knew that we were going to use this tool, this learning device, this body to unlearn all that junk so that way we can return whole again. But we got here and our mind was not trained because we were not trained as this little tiny baby in this world on how to use this mind and think for ourselves. And we ate the lotus flower, so to speak, and we totally began to hallucinate on a whole separate little plan with the ego, with that self-image that we've made for ourselves apart from God. And we forgot that this was our intention before we got here. Now, I know that may sound conceptual depending on where you are in relationship to truth. If you're all the way down here, it's going to sound conceptual. But if you're in this vicinity, you're going to understand that little spark of remembrance is going to be like, oh yeah, I remember. And that's what's happening right here and right now for every single one of us, whether we want to admit that or not, whether we know that or not. That is what's happening here. And because me and you are here remembering and reawakening to our purpose and our function, let's go ahead and fulfill it and release any of our own foolish ideas to the contrary. In the shorter practice periods, which should be undertaken at least once an hour, use this form in applying today's idea. My only function is the one God gave me. I want no other, and I have no other. Sometimes close your eyes as you practice this, and sometimes keep them open and look about you. It is what you see now that will be totally changed when you accept today's idea completely. And that is the end of lesson 65 of A Course in Miracles. My only function, your only function, our only function is the one that God gave us, and that is forgiveness. And whenever we have any uncontrollable and irrational emotions triggered, whenever someone gets on our nerves, whenever something causes us to feel upset, that is the moment where we can apply this lesson, where we can forgive that situation, and most importantly, again, forgive ourselves for that sense of separation that we've projected on that situation that caused us to think that that was the problem when we were the ones who are doing it all to ourselves. Remember, again, I just want to mention this. If this sounds like woo woo to you at this moment in time and you really want to believe it, but it kind of sounds like it's really out there, I would like for you to trust me, because I assure you that what me and you are discussing right now in this moment is what is happening. This is truth, because truth is unalterable. This cannot be changed. Everything that we've said today cannot be altered. This is what is going on here, and this is what is in our own best interest, and I know what's in our own best interest for us. And if you trust me, I can guide you to a state of mind that is so beautiful that you will never want to leave. If you're there with me already, then I know you know. And if you're not right here in this state of mind with me yet, but you know that it exists, then you are on the right path. And I could assure you that there is no point in giving up now, based on how far we've made it already in our understanding, because you are right there, very close. And I just wanted to mention that to assure you that what we are doing is what you want and is what you intended. And once we internalize this and reawaken to who we really are, and once we begin to fulfill our function all day, every day, until it becomes autopilot and we no longer need to try because we are functioning without even trying, we can go ahead and live the best life ever. And we could do so right now. This state of mind, again, is something so beautiful, so powerful. And this is a state of mind of oneness, where you and God are one, where you and all that is are one, where you and me are one, where you and everybody in this world and everything in this world and every situation in this world are one. There is nothing that you need to do. There is only your function. And whenever you're functioning properly, everything else will be a byproduct. So keep that in mind for today. I will do the same, and we will meet here again for lesson 66 of A Course in Miracles.